Jesus fucking Christ, that's a proper good morning, comrades. And finally, after days of storm, thunder, or me just being simply too busy, I finally made it to the paddock of the Oldtimer Grand Prix, probably the most popular, most famous, most visited events of the Nürburgring. And we're gonna start, well, after having seen those M1s and the Mazdas, the rotary car porn, we're gonna start with more classic cars. And just a small disclaimer, I'm not really into classic cars. Luckily there are the names of them and what type of car it is that shows above them. Of course I know the icons like the Silver Arrows, the Auto Unions with the V16s, but not all of them. So let's just start with the classic era cars from the 30s, have a look what they have here in store, and after that move on to the actual paddock, the nowadays GP track, because this is actually the Oldtimer, the classic paddock. I gotta say that this car is parked wrongly. This is obviously not a Veritas from 1950s, but the Bentley blower somewhere around 1930s, from the similar era as this Lagonda, the Le Mans car. And Bentleys were dominating Le Mans in 1930s. And yeah, actually nowadays we find the forced induction, the superchargers and turbochargers pretty common, but almost 100 years ago that was pretty goddamn badass. And just again, look how close I am to the car. I don't have any media accreditation for this event. I'm just here as a casual visitor. So the problem is with a lot of YouTube videos and videos in general, people think like, oh, as a casual visitor you'll not be able to get to come close to those cars, to listen to them, to look at them and nearly touch them. But as a part of automotive etiquette, we're not gonna touch the cars, but just have a look at them. And let's see what's happening there. And then here in one of the pit boxes I spot a car with a clover leaf, and I would think, well, Alfa Romeo, but no, it's actually a Brassi Voiture de course from 1908. And I spot there something, well, a modern alternator, so it's not a completely stock car, but next to this, look at that, a Leon Peugeot from 1909. Look at the old school cluster here. And the steering wheel, everything is in immaculate condition. Next to it is a real icon, a Bugatti from 1921, Bugatti Brescia, and similar. Looks a bit more modern than the Peugeot, because obviously there's 15 years in between, and even nowadays 15 years is a lot for cars, but even back then, look at that flat tire. Maybe he was doing too much burnout, but that wouldn't make sense because the car is rear-wheel drive and not front-wheel drive, so that's just another bad joke from me. And apparently the car is really running, because look, it has a transponder on it. The only thing that, well, is kind of disappointing, and I'm also guilty to that, is that unlike, for example, Goodwood, the classic, the Goodwood revival, people are just wearing modern clothes and not the old school clothing that would match the car's age. Then moving on into more modern cars from the 50s, and to be honest, well, they don't, of course they are impressive, they are special, but they don't impress me that much as a century-old cars. Or some quarter-century-year-old cars. And I must honestly say the Jaguar XJ220 is also probably one of the most under-delivering or most disappointing supercars, or maybe even it can be also be counted as a hypercar of that age, because initially the concept was promising V12 all-wheel drive 220 miles per hour super, or maybe hypercar of that time. But unfortunately the final production version received only V6 with twin turbo, and the actual top speed was just 212 miles per hour, which was still back at the time the fastest production car available. And it also has I believe 7 minutes 46 seconds lap record time on the Nürburgring, which was again also fastest production time on the Nürburgring back at the time. This car in particular is pretty special because this is a number 8 of the 10 development cars and was unveiled by Princess Diana during her visit to Jaguar Sports Factory. And if you're more into rust than shiny carbon fiber and fiberglass, then there's here original 1966 Jaguar E-Type. Nicely preserved, full with rust, and I kind of like it more than it would be, for example, in such condition, all shiny, because that gives the car character. And I'm being really interrupted because I believe 70s Formula 1 races have started to run, so maybe let's see if we can get a quick glimpse of that. That was pretty orgasmic, and I can assure you that those Porsche 911's Carrera RSRs and iconic Jägermeister and Martini liveries can sound pretty orgasmic as well. And since, well, kind of unfortunately it's trendy to put a value on certain things, those things, if they're original, because the RSRs are the most copied cars, probably most copied Porsches ever, most replicated Porsches ever, though their value can be above millions. And on such an event as Oldtimer Grand Prix on Nürburgring, it's, well, the chances are very, very high and very certain that those are original RSRs. But I'm actually looking forward more to see its bigger brothers like the 917 and 956. And what you're looking at now is the engine bay of an Audi 200 Quattro, which dominated the American Trans Am Championship in '98 with Hans-Joachim Stuck and Walter Röhr behind the wheel. Look at that. First place. And yeah, probably some technical failures over here. That car was shocking. And I might be wrong, but I think it was even banned after that because it was way too dominating. And then a similar car, well, similar in terms of shape, size, and huge amount of horsepower, the Ford Zaxby Turbo Capri from 1980s. Yeah, it is pretty loud. Come on. Yay. And then something more modern, but for me as a Volvo lover, mandatory to tell you, I used to have 3 Volvos, and that's why 850 T5R or 850R was one of my dream cars, and kind of still is. And it's actually, well, even nowadays, pretty affordable. But back in the 90s, I mean, let's start with this. Today, thinking of power saloons, power stations, you think of Audi RS6, Audi RS4, but back in the 90s, you had, of course, Audi S2, RS2, but this, the 850, if you were a dad and you had a dog, kids, well, you would get definitely 850R. 250 horsepower, this one, T5R, 243 horsepower and overboost. Damn. Yeah, I should go away from here because the more I look at it, the more I want to buy one today. And then a blast from the past, from the 70s, in form of a bricky, boxy Volvo 242, which for me has a timeless design. But I'm sure some of you will disagree, but many of those who disagree would probably agree that the Volvo 1800 is definitely timeless. And especially in such a, how should I say, Miami blue-ish color. Look at the lines, look at the curves. Wow. And then speaking of a boxy design, probably the most recognizable boxy design car in the world is the Lada 2107, but this is a Lada VFTS, a rally version of it. And unfortunately, so it seems, it had a small fender bender. And then going back to iconic Porsches, the 935 of Wayant Kramer. And look at this, it's for sale. But if you don't have something north of 1 million euros somewhere in your back pocket or an old sock, don't even bother calling them. And here, just one more for you, but I'm more interested in the E9, I think it is an E9, yeah, Batmobile CSL Shark Nose with huge side pipes. And then I finally found it. For me, probably the car of the show. The Porsche 917 from 1970s. So in 3 years it will be half a century old. This particular car has actually a license plate at the back, so it can be even street legal. So that makes my dream car, make it even more dream car, if I may say something stupid like that. And before I started recording this particular shot, I probably spent like 50 minutes just admiring every single line, every single aerodynamic element of this car. My God, this is a really true bucket list item for me, to go out in one of those. And I really don't even need to go flat out, but just to enjoy the 12-cylinder boxer engine. Oh my God. And where else in the world can you find 4 BMW M1 Pro cars standing next to each other? Well, probably maybe in BMW Museum? Not sure, but definitely at Oldtimer Grand Prix of Nürburgring. The DTM Classic era cars are going out for a warm-up lap, and I'm going to finish this video, this part of the video, by walking through the pit lane and checking out what kind of special candy is happening in the pit boxes. Well, that's not really a practical car if you cannot even take your trophies with you back home after the race. Guess it's either trophies or you as a driver. Second bad joke of today.
Schneider mit der 24 zusammen mit Roland Rasch und Sierra RS 500. Für Rasch ist das erste Mal, dass wir den Sierra RS 500 feststellen.
Although you cannot see the cars, listening to them is already priceless.
Und bringt endlich mal
The Porsche 1600 reminds me of my childhood when I was playing Need for Speed Porsche 2000. all the classic and good things unfortunately come to an end, so now we jump back into the modern times and let's see what's happening at Apex. Those guys are taking out lots of cars, the M2, the Cupra, later the GT86, because first another driver is gonna take it, then they're gonna swap it, but first they're gonna take the 218, so a lot of cars are going out. I'm going out with the Polo, which is somewhere over there, so actually all the cars are out today, also multiple times. Let's get in, say hello. Hello.
Hello.
So
I have something straight from Brussels.
Wow.
It's green math.
Green math. I was thinking of getting.
It's my favorite. But
Okay. Well, we can pretend that it's a methanol injection for the app.
Yeah.
15%. Wow. Nice.
So it's so green that I thought that.
Yeah, it matches the green of the app quite good. Looks very cool.
And then this is homemade wine from Spain.
Homemade.
Rioja.
Wow. Thank you very much.
Don't worry.
And I hope to go out with you. Yeah, later for a lap or something.
Yeah, of course.
How long are you staying here for?
Till Tuesday.
Oh, okay. Well, then we'll have plenty of
Have a lot
time.
of time.
A lot of time to check out his amazing Focus ST over there. Yep.
Yeah, later we can do a review.
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it later. Cool. You guys ready?
Yeah, I think so.
Alcohol.
Hey!
Hey.
Let's drink that and then go drive.
We can drink after the driving. There's nothing wrong with it.
I tasted before I buy it. It's quite okay.
I have the key.
Can I open it?
Yeah. Okay. Just don't spill it. Oops.
Oh, that smells nice. Here, let the viewers smell it. Nah.
Smells nice indeed. We're gonna try it tonight after the driving.
We'll tell you.
We'll tell. Who is Will? I'm gonna tell it, not Will. That's the third bad joke of today.
Will surely tell it.
Who's Shirley?
Ah.
Where's my cap? It was here somewhere. Cool. Well, ready to rock and roll. Holy cannoli! There are already 3 accidents.
How'd you know?
It says on the monitor. Just give it to him, or give it to me. Give it to me.
Sorry. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Right-hand drive problems.
I know, yeah.
So 2 laps done. Getting some fuel. Maybe do some car spotting on the gas station. The beast of the green hell is here, and then let's get some food for Diana and me. I also didn't have any breakfast. Plenty of choice for today. And back at Apex, and unfortunately they closed the track. The guys are still leaving probably to buy some tickets, so all the cars are going out. We are visited by Freddy from Team Shermer and the Cheese M4, and that's a nice Corvette, and the GT3. That guy over there, the Dutch E46, he said that his friend crashed in Vauxhall because the McLaren poured some liquid, and that's why we saw police driving past. So police is involved in the investigation because Nürburgring is kind of public road, and whenever something like that happened, the McLaren, if it is exactly the case, what I just told you, that McLaren will be held accountable, his insurance or such. I hope it's not this McLaren. I really hope, but yeah, probably not, because there were actually multiple McLarens driving, not our. I hope it, no, yeah, Robert hasn't been on the track today, so definitely not. What else can I say? M4 has been out on the track today already. Robert did 9 minutes with 3 yellow flags, so just by cruising with 3 people in the car, so the car is very capable, really good. I'm really looking forward to take it up myself, probably, I don't know, well, soon, probably some of this week. And maybe one day we might convert the M4 into something like this, the Oregano M4 by Team Shermer. And then, yeah, another thing that I was hoping to do is to raise the up a bit, because it's rubbing on the inside of the tires. And in the rain it's kind of okay, but yeah, in the dry you can actually see already the tire is rubbing. And I really want to see how it handles like with the new suspension, but for now there are just some spiders chilling on my tire. Hello little fella, you want to go for a lap? No? Okay, just go back inside, the track is closed anyway. Yeah, what else can I tell you? Nothing much, just waiting till the track will open and we can go out for a few laps. And unfortunately, due to the Oldtimer Grand Prix. The track is open from 1 o'clock today. Right now it's just after 2. So we only have 5 hours left, and I apologize for the wind. For some reason I'm walking towards the wall to make sure that there is no wind, but there's only more wind here than it is upstairs. So the weather, just like casually at the Nürburgring, makes total 0 sense today. Let's wait and then hopefully get back out on the track. Well, that's a lot.
It's a mess.
Well, yeah, if you go in the foxhole, then oops, oops.
Well, at least we can account for all of our cars now.
And the Apex M2.
It's empty, it's dead.
Yeah. You want to really go out, or should we just...
Nah, we'll just go back, I think.
Yeah, let's go back. Fast forward 5 hours later after the last shot. So the track has been closed for 5 hours, and it's actually been closed for the whole time because they decided not to reopen again. It was a very, very, very bad accident. Luckily, as far as I know, everyone survived because rumors travel very fast around Nürburgring, and usually you would already hear some rumors that someone didn't make out or someone had something. So in this case, would say I'm pretty happy that we don't hear any bad stuff at this point. All of our cars, well, M2 was fairly close but not involved in the accident. I can say, well, yeah, happy for that. Feel very sorry for everyone else. I see the pictures of the crash of the scene and they look too good, but then again, luckily everyone's okay. I hope still you enjoyed today's content, and I'm gonna see you tomorrow, but it's not going to be the vlog of tomorrow because I'm gonna stop with vlogging for a couple of days because I need to catch up. So, see you then. Bye.
Yeah, that's the DTM Calibra from 86. And that is the special Calibra we built for the 87 season.